Let's go. We on? All right. So again, I'm sorry for the long time off. Last time we were together, it was almost a month ago. We had just finished point 11, but again, since it's been a month and that's such an important point, I'm going to go back to point 11 of chapter 16 and repeat it again. Point 11 says, regarding the passage, ever since I attained Buddhahood, the number of kalpas that have passed is an immeasurable hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, millions, trillions, asamyaks. The record of the oral, and then it's got an asterisk. So let me reread this passage as it's being interpreted by Nichiren in this point. It says, the passage is retranslated here to make Nichiren's meaning clear. The passage consists of the 5 Chinese characters, Jiga Tokubutsu Rai. This is what we do every time we start part 2 of the Juryohan chapter of the second part of Gongyo. The passage consists of the 5 Chinese characters, Jiga Tokubutsu Rai. It means, since I attained Buddhahood. Literally, however, these 5 characters mean respectively, since or ego, I or self, attain or gain, Buddhahood or Buddha, and ever or come. Nichiren combined these characters in 2 ways in order to clarify that all living beings inherently possess the 10 worlds, which is, they all inherently possess Buddhahood as well as the 9 worlds, and the 3 bodies of which they were originally endowed, the Dharma body, the reward body, and the manifested body. First, the Buddha has attained both the sense, ego, or the 9 worlds, and the I, self, or Buddhahood, has come. And then secondly, interprets it as I, the Dharma body, Buddhahood, the reward body, and ever come or manifested body are self-attained. So the self-attainment aspect of that is again hitting the 6th stage of practice that allows you to perceive your innate Buddhahood and coming to the understanding and realization. You only do that on your own. You can read it a million times. When it actually kicks, and that's the cause that brings forth the inherent 3 bodies of which you've eternally been endowed. They're not manifest until you come to the understanding that you're already a Buddha exactly as you are. Okay? So then he says here, the record of, this is page 133, the record of the orally transmitted teaching says the traditional interpretation of this passage holds that it refers to this one sentence, the traditional interpretation of this passage holds that it refers in this one sentence to the 3 bodies of a Buddha. The word sense refers to the 9 worlds other than Buddhahood, while the I refers to the world of Buddhahood. It is saying that these 10 worlds are part of the makeup of a Buddha with his eternally endowed 3 bodies. The Buddha includes both the sense and the I, which makes it clear that he has from the very beginning possessed all 10 worlds. So again, it just qualified. This is about Buddhahood. Okay, this comes forth from the 6th stage of practice. Your simple but very difficult to get to realization of your true identity. Okay, we go on to page 134 to continue. I stands for the Dharma body. Buddhahood stands for the reward body, and ever stands for the manifested body. These 3 bodies have been self-attained by the ancient Buddha who is without beginning or end, just as it is for us. Okay, the original attainment is the original teacher coming to the understanding of what Buddhahood is and the parameters involved in revealing it. The same idea is expressed in the passage that reads, this cluster of unsurpassed jewels has come to us unsought. In other words, a realization has manifested that came from our own minds. Okay? Chapter 4, Belief and Understanding. Thus, we see that the passage in this chapter The passages in this chapter that reveal the original enlightenment of the Buddha and the extremely great length of his lifespan are something never to be found in the other sutra teachings. Now, when Nichiren and his followers chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, they are acting as votaries of these words, since I attained Buddhahood, Jiga Tokuburai. And that's why every day in Gongyo, that's the most important part of it, actually. Okay, that's the opening of the door to your innate Buddha nature. Every day when you start the second part of Gongyo. Point 12 on page 134 in the middle. Point 12 on the words, in order to save living beings as an expedient means, I appear to enter nirvana. The record of the orally transmitted teaching says this passage of the sutra indicates that the Nirvana Sutra derives from the Lotus Sutra. It is already being referred to as an expedient means. Done deal. So in other words, again, even though Tentai qualified, the perfect teaching as being the Lotus and the Nirvana, you should not think of them as essentially equal. They are the same. Okay, what is expressed in the Nirvana is essentially already contained within the Lotus, and a few little clarifications occur that are not necessary. The primary text is the Lotus, not the Nirvana, okay, of the perfect teaching as defined by Tentai. Point 13, page 134, on the words, I am always here preaching the law. The record of the orally transmitted teaching says always here refers to the place where the votaries of the Lotus Sutra abide. Here is the Saha world, or the Saha world. Saha world. Mountain valleys or the wide wilderness, chapter 21, supernatural powers. This is what the sutra means when it speaks of here, the phenomenal realm. Preaching the law is the sound of the words of all living beings. That is the sound of preaching the law through the wisdom that is freely received and used. That's what you've not acquired, but that's what you've revealed when you understand that you're already the Buddha exactly as you are. You're taking that wisdom and you're utilizing it for the sake of not just yourself, but for all living beings. He says, again, preaching the law is the sound of the words of all living beings. That is the sound of preaching the law through the wisdom that is freely received and used, a part of their original makeup, because we're all originally endowed with the three bodies, okay? We have now entered the latter day now that we have entered the latter day of the law, preaching the law means Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. This is the preaching of the law carried out now by Nichiren and his followers, okay? We move to page 135, point 14. On the words, then I and the assembly of monks appear together on Holy Eagle Peak. The record of the orally transmitted teaching says, this passage refers to the assembly on Holy Eagle Peak, which continues in solemn state and has not yet disbanded. Okay, so this is not some ancient event that was a one-time circumstance. This banding together has not yet disbanded means that we're all still fighting for widespread propagation in the latter day to make all living beings equal to ourselves as Buddhists, because this is all a carryover of the state of Buddhahood. Then, or the time when this takes place, is the latter day of the law, because the latter day of the law is when Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is revealed, which allows all the people of the phenomenal realm to attain Buddhahood. The time when the Buddha responds to the receptiveness of the people, the latter day of the law, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. That's what the response is. I refers to Shakyamuni Buddha and to the Bodhisattvas and assembly of monks. To the holy assembly of the voice hearers and Pratyeka Buddhas. Together means all the 10 worlds. Holy Eagle Peak is the land of eternally tranquil light. That is, at this time, I and the assembly of monks appear together on Holy Eagle Peak. That means that this ceremony there is a perpetual manifestation from the votaries that appear and validate that they're votaries by realizing the truth of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo and bringing forth their original three bodies. That means Buddhahood. And then he says, this must be kept secret. This must be kept secret. But by saying that, he's really saying this is the highest teaching, and you have to be careful not to reveal it lightly. It could be, if it's misunderstood, it would be a terrible thing to have happen. This must be kept secret. This must be kept secret doesn't mean don't tell anybody. It means make sure you understand what you're saying when you do reveal it. This is a clear statement of the actuality of 3,000 realms in a single moment of life of the essential teaching. The Gohonzon is the realization and manifestation of this passage. In that sense, the word together stands for the principle of eternal and unchanging truth, and the word appear stands for the wisdom of the truth that accords with changing circumstances. Together is a single moment of life, while appear is 3,000 realms. Now, 3,000 realms is, again, the premise that Buddhahood is contained in all the other 9 worlds, is out of the 10 worlds, right? Okay, so the 3,000 realms signifies the truth that you have the Buddha nature inherent within your life and mind. Okay, so he's saying, this must be kept secret, this must be kept secret. This is a clear statement of the actuality, not theoretical Ichinen Sanzen, but now with Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, actual Ichinen Sanzen, the original state of all existence. Okay, the actuality of the 3,000 realms in a single moment of life of the essential teaching. Because again, we only exist a single moment of life at a time. The only real reality is this moment, because this is the only moment that's in the present. Everything else is either in the future or in the past. Okay? The Gohonzon is the realization and manifestation of this passage that everything is always all present. You know, there is no past that's not actually attached to the present, and there's no future that's not actually attached to the present. All right? In that sense, the word together stands for the principle of eternal and unchanging truth. That is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. While the word appear stands for the wisdom, our ability to perceive that truth, even though moment by moment by moment, the circumstances and surroundings are constantly changing. Everything changes moment by moment by moment throughout the universe, not just for us. Okay? Together is a single moment of life. That means all of us share each single individual moment of life together at the same time while we're in a manifest form. Okay, so there is no separation between anybody and anything. Okay, that's why you have to care about all living beings, because you're not separate from any of the other living beings. And living beings include, as I've said a billion times now, not just human beings, but all living beings and all plants, all animals, all environments to support those living beings. They are all included in the phrase living beings. Together is a single moment of life, while appear is the 3,000 realms. Together is a single moment of life we all experience together, and we all have the 3,000 realms as a potential. We all have the ability at any moment, any single moment, we can reveal our eternal true nature as a Buddha. But only we can do that for ourselves. And the reward body is for the purpose of getting us to the point that we are able to manifest that realization. And the Dharma body is actually what becomes our fundamental life state after that. We're Buddhas in our present form. All right. Again, we may say that the word then refers to the time when the essential teaching, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo he's talking about, identifies the Sahe world as the land of eternally tranquil light, because that's what Kosen Rufu is. We transform this world of quarrels and disputes, the Saha world, and we manifest instead the land of eternally tranquil light. We transform the reality of earth and our environment into the Buddha land. All right. The rest of this sentence represents the mandala of the entirety of the 10 worlds, which is the Gohonzon. That is because the time indicated by the word then is the fifth 500-year period, or the latter day of the law. When Nichiren makes his advent, qualifies the law of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, but don't ever misunderstand. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo doesn't precede the Gohonzon. The Gohonzon precedes Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Okay, so the original state is manifest within the ever-abiding ceremony in the air, which is actually represented on the Gohonzon. And you chanting to the Daimoku to the Gohonzon is your participation, your personal participation in the ceremony in air. The assembly on Holy Peak, which continues in solemn state, has not yet disbanded. We join it every day when we chant Daimoku to the Gohonzon. It says, okay, so that is because the time indicated by the word then is the fifth 500-year period, now the latter day of the law. I refers to Shakyamuni Buddha and to the Bodhisattvas and assembly of monks, to the persons of the two vehicles. Together refers to the beings of the six paths, so that's included everything. All right? Appear means to be ranged side by side in the pure land of Holy Eagle Peak. Holy Peak refers to the Gohonzon, as I just said. It also refers to the place where Nichiren and his followers who chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo dwell. Because when we're in a manifest state, we're in this single moment of life, okay, dealing with the truth that abides with changing circumstances. When we go into Ku, we go to the ninth consciousness, which is the self-contained embodiment that actually exists within the Gohonzon. That's why Nam-myoho Renge-kyo comes from the Gohonzon. The Gohonzon doesn't come from Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Do you understand? Okay, so that's Holy Eagle Peak refers to the Gohonzon. It's not some place we're going to go to that's like a mountain somewhere and everybody's godly. No. Holy Eagle Peak is right now here in the Sahe world, the place of quarrels and disputes, and we manifest Buddhahood and transform it. All right? And this is where we dwell. That we're Gohonzon people. All right? Point 15 at the bottom of page 135, regarding the passage when living beings witness the end of the kalpa. This is a very long passage from the sutra. When living beings witness the end of a kalpa and all is consumed in a great fire, this my land remains safe and tranquil, constantly filled with heavenly and human beings. So he's talking about Holy Eagle Peak. He's talking about the state of non-substantiality, the ninth consciousness here, because regardless of the environment, meeting a demise for whatever reason. But let's face it, when the Earth disintegrates because the supernova of the sun, all the people on Earth are going to be destroyed. But are they really destroyed? No, that's what this is talking about. That's why he's talking about the end of the kalpa when all is consumed in a great fire. He's really talking about the supernova of the sun that will occur in several million years and consume the third planet in its orbital rotation called Earth. All right, this land might remain safe and tranquil. Okay, because the moment of life time still goes on even after the supernova of the sun. And time goes on, and there are other worlds that you can inhabit other than Earth and manifest as a living being. Okay, so constantly filled with heavenly and human beings. The halls and pavilions in its gardens and groves are adorned with various kinds of gems. Jeweled trees abound in flowers and fruit. Now, this is a condition of life, all right, where living beings enjoy themselves at ease because they're all in the state of Buddhahood. This is the state of this is the ninth consciousness. He's talking about Buddhas from the very beginning over here when I was talking about I am here, always here preaching the law. This has all been about people attaining Buddhahood. What happens to people that attain Buddhahood? What do they experience? Where living beings enjoy themselves at ease. The gods strike heavenly drums. It's constantly making many kinds of music. Mandarava blossoms rain down, scattering over the Buddhas over the Buddha and the great assembly. My pure land is not destroyed, because the pure land is the state of Buddhahood that's eternal. You're eternally endowed three bodies. If you are eternally endowed with three bodies, if your life itself is a manifestation of the eternally endowed three bodies, then you've existed since time without beginning. I mean, the bottom line is you've existed before Earth could have possibly ever been created. Okay, that's just a fact. We don't have a time frame that we're constrained by, or a circumstance that validates or invalidates our existence. Our existence is eternal. The eternally endowed three bodies remain as a manifest element of our karmic being. Okay, so where living beings enjoy themselves at ease, the gods strike heavenly drums, constantly making kinds of music. Mandarava blossoms rain down, scattered over the Buddha and the great assembly. My pure land is not destroyed, Shakyamuni is saying in this text here. Yet the multitude see it as consumed in fire. Okay, the people that have not attained the state of Buddhahood. Okay, with anxiety, fear, and other sufferings filling it everywhere. These living beings, with their various offenses, okay, they haven't cleansed themselves through the process of obtaining Buddhahood in their present form, through causes arising from their evil actions, spend asamyak kalpas without hearing the name of the three treasures. In other words, when they remanifest, they don't remanifest around the truth of the law. They have to go through the circle something of the six paths. They don't get to go into the higher realms for asamyak kalpas. Why? Because they slandered by not believing the name and the words of the truth. All right? When they had a chance to, when they encountered it. Without hearing the name of the three treasures. Now, the three treasures is Buddhism. That's the Buddha, the Dharma, and the practitioners. But those who practice meritorious ways, bodhisattvas and Buddhas, who are gentle, peaceful, honest, and upright, bodhisattvas and Buddhas, all of them will see me here in person preaching the law, because they're going to go to the ninth consciousness, and that's where they're going to hang, and that's where they're going to remanifest from. If not on Earth, because it's been consumed by the supernova of the sun, then someplace else. We are always existing in the phenomenal realm. After we come out of non-substantiality, we're never permanently negated. All right. So now the Daishonin is going to clarify all this for me on page 136. The record of the orally transmitted teaching says this passage is a hymn of praise for the principle of 3,000 realms in a single moment of life, revealed in the lifespan chapter of the essential teaching of the essential teaching of the latter day of the law, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. This isn't made clear prior to the latter day. Okay, and he's saying it's a hymn of praise of the principle of 3,000 realms in a single moment, is basically referring to the reality that it's through this great act of mercy and compassion that we're able to attain Buddhahood in our present form, and therefore we don't freak out when an end comes for whatever reason, even if it's the end of a kalpa and it's the supernova of the sun. The words, when all is consumed in a great fire, in fact signify the great fire of earthly desires. The words, this my land remains safe and tranquil, refer to the realm of the environment. Right? The words, where living beings enjoy themselves at ease, refers to the realm of living beings. The words, jewel trees abound in flowers and fruit, refer to the realm of the five components. Thus, this part of the passage is clearly speaking of the principle of 3,000 realms in a single moment of life, the inherent Buddha nature of all things, not just you or me as people, but all things have the 10th world innate within them. Again, we may say it's the original state. They can't not. Again, we may say that the past, because it's Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Understand, that's what we're talking about here. Again, we may say that the passage refers to the 10 worlds. The great fire stands for the world of hell, Heavenly drum stands for that of animals, and heavenly and human beings for the two worlds of human and heavenly beings, which are constantly filled with heavenly and human beings. The words Mandarava blossoms stand for the world of voice hearers, and the words gardens and groves stand for the Pratyeka Buddhas, the cause awakened ones. And the word "and" in the phrase "the Buddha and the Great Assembly" stands for the world of bodhisattvas, and the words scattered all over the Buddha stand for the world of Buddhas. The words asuras and hungry spirits are implied in the lines with anxiety, fear, and other sufferings, filling it everywhere. These various worlds, that was all 10 worlds that he just qualified there. So again, everything, these various worlds are referred to in the words "these living beings with their various offenses." Okay? However, the revelations in this lifespan chapter make clear that all of them will see me. Asterisk down here. The phrase "all of them will see me" means that all of them will see me, that is the Buddha, in their lives, their own Buddha nature, not to see a personage of being a Buddha. This is all about your original state. This is about you revealing your eternally endowed three bodies. Okay? With the world of Buddhahood manifest, which means that they've all attained the awakening of the sixth stage of practice. With the world of Buddhahood manifest, their lives will be endowed at each moment with the 3,000 realms, regardless of where they are at. Okay, I've still got plenty of time. Page 138, we continue. He says, the great teacher Myola states in his commentary that anyone who does not understand the text of the lifespan chapter is no more than a beast who has no understanding of a debt of gratitude, a summary of Myola's work from the treatise of 500 questions. So what he's really qualifying there is, again, you haven't escaped into the world of eternal humanity until you get past the sixth world of heavenly beings and you enter voice hearers, cause awakened ones, and bodhisattvas on the way to becoming a Buddha, revealing your innate Buddhahood, not becoming a Buddhahood, revealing what's already there. And and has no debt of gratitude means that when you were told this truth, you blew it off. That's why you're still in those lower six paths. All right. As for the passages that attest to the fact that the sutra itself possesses these three virtues, the virtue of sovereign is attested in the words, as the Buddha is king of the doctrine, so likewise this sutra is king of the sutras. Chapter 23, Medicine King. The virtue of the teacher is attested in the words, this sutra can save all living beings. And the virtue of parent is attested in the words, and as the heavenly king, great Brahma is the father of all living beings, so this sutra likewise is father of all sages, worthies, etc. So this sutra, this teaching is what opens up the ability with you as a living being. It comes from the teaching, okay? That's what frees you to be able to become a Buddha in your present form and to perceive the 10 worlds exactly as they are. Now, Nichiren and his followers who chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo are the fathers of all living beings. So he includes us in that. He doesn't just say me, like I'm hot shot and you're not. He says, now Nichiren and his followers who chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo and attain the sixth stage of practice, bring forth the sixth stage of practice in their lives, who chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo are the fathers of all living beings. For if we save them we save them from the torrents of the hell of incessant suffering. The Nirvana Sutra says, the varied sufferings that all living beings undergo, all these are the thus come one's own sufferings, because we all have that level of compassion of being a Buddha and wanting everybody to be equal to us. And Nichiren declares that the varied sufferings that all living beings undergo, all these are Nichiren's own sufferings, and in making that statement, he's also qualifying that we are as well. And we'll stop there at page 138, and that was the end of point 16. We'll go on to point 17 the next time we're together. Thank you very much.